our finance head didn't wear the, those badges, sort of the entry thing. So I said, where's your card? He says, oh, I left it in my laptop bag. I said, why? He said, I have to go home. I have to keep it back in my laptop bag before I go home because I still can't talk and tell my daughter that I do not work for DuPont. It was a real example. It's so difficult to say that I now work for Exalta Coating Systems and people will say, what? It's not about the organization. The organization is the same, the people are the same, the values are the same, the culture is the same. But it was such an identity crisis. So to be able to relate and wade through all of that, empathize that this is real for you and this is real for me, has been an immense challenge. I also, though I was fortunate always to have been working with multicultural organizations throughout and had a whole lot of global exposure, but now with literally being responsible for 10 countries across Asia, I was talking to Dr. Shah the other day. I'm telling myself, do I really need to go and learn Mandarin? Do I learn Korean? I don't know what to learn because I'm so confused in a way to say, how do I really help all the people across these different countries? So globalization in every sense has pervaded my life completely. And then I also need to go and find leaders who have really based on their ability, capability, and capacity to influence others. Because it's no longer, you no longer have the ability to do things the same way. There is a cultural transformation that is coming in, and how do you really respond to it? So, in fact, in the morning, as somebody said, human response, right? That's really true. The other thing I have been, it's all about empowering yourself and empowering others as well, especially in the midst of change. Empowering yourself is so very important because otherwise you would approach things with a victim mindset. You will say, oh, this has been inflicted upon me. And that's not the language which is helpful. It's not about, inflicted with change. When we say change is the only constant, then someday or the other things will bound to change. So how do I empower myself to respond to that situation and actually do the very best in it? And then about visualizing a desirable future state. So how do you align people again to a new goal? How do you say this is what our future state is going to be? And HR, of course, has a very important role in all of it. So having learned all of that, I do want to change. He said, Charles Darwin survival, so I prepared a survival kit for you. But now, so globalization, as I said, something that cannot be avoided anymore, and it's there to stay. Change management decides whether business will succeed or fail because all businesses are bound to change. So here's my survival kit for all of you. The organization is going to change. It must. If it is to survive and prosper. So rather than banging your head against the wall of reality and losing your spirit, invest your energy in making quick adjustments. Today has a very temporary quality about it. Predictability is passive, vague is vogue. The ability to improvise that has become an essential skill. We must learn to bob and weave, to bounce whenever change hits, to pivot, flex, operate in a fog. So instead of futilely trying to stabilize the situation, we must learn to exploit the instability. And again, quoting Werner Renner, ride the horse in the direction that it's going. So if things are changing, you must change as well. You're all academic students. I'm not going to go through this model, but if you do want to go and look up from an academic point of view, there is global change management processes. There is enough work done around it. You could refer Martin and Beaumont and this very structured models. I'm not going to talk about it right now. And thank you again. This is because Ganesh already said I'm a photographer, so this is my way of saying thank you to all of you. I'm Udaipur. This was short.